All the participants and our candidate, Tia Reza, is going to present her research proposal, and I'm the Putri, and I will be your moderator of today's seminar. Welcome to the research proposal seminar. With Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby declare the seminar is officially open. Now I would like to invite Mutia to present her research proposal. Mutia, come is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Teresa with ID number 8122307. Before I begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my supervisor, my Christine, still Ms. PBI, and my co-supervisor, is PBI, my reviewer, so Mahum and PhD, our moderator, Mandy PBI, and to all my friends for attending the seminar and giving me the opportunity to present my research proposal today. So today I will present my research proposal entitled Exploring How Illness to Communicate, or WTC, shapes English speaking performance among English education students at Mahasiswa University. So, in typical speaking classes, we often encounter these phenomena. There are students who have good knowledge of English proficiency, they have excellent grammar, they have great vocabulary scores, but when they ask to speak in front of the class, they remain silent. They don't want to raise their hands, and they won't say a word. It's interesting because there are students who might have the same level of language proficiency, yet they speak very confidently, they raise their hands, and they are very, very active when it comes to speaking. This contrast leads to a crucial question, which is, what actually influences a student's speaking performance? Is it merely their language ability, or is there any situational and psychological factors at play? Now, let me provide you with a deeper understanding of why this phenomenon matters and what theoretical foundations support this research. So, this still remains a continuing challenge between Indonesian EFL learners despite years and years of study. At the University, specifically in the English Education Study Program, this challenge has extra importance. Why? Because students not just learning English for their personal use, but also they have to know how to use that language in real, various communicative situations, such as professional and academic settings. However, class observations reveals a persistent gap between knowledge and performance. It shows that many students face difficulties. They have knowledge of grammar and vocabulary, but when they face with spontaneous speaking situations, they hesitate, they feel anxious, or some of them even avoid the opportunity to speak at all, just as myself. And that is where the concept of willingness to communicate become highly relevant. Willingness to communicate, or as known as a WTC, which was first conceptualized by McIntyre and his colleagues in 1998, is defined as a readiness to enter into a discourse or conversation at a particular time with a specific person or persons using a second language. What makes this concept fascinating is that willingness to communicate is not merely personality trait. It's not merely a fixed personality trait, but it's rather dynamical and situational. A student willingness to communicate can change from time to time, can change from moment to moment, depending on various factors, such as their actual environment, the topic of discussion, who they are speaking to, and level of confidence they have at that particular time. that's where willingness to communicate serves as a crucial bridge that connects between knowing a language and actually using it. Okay, you might memorize all of the grammar rules, you might have the knowledge of thousands of vocabulary words, but if you're not willing to communicate, if you don't have the willingness to communicate, those knowledge might stay unused. That is why willingness to communicate become such an important focus in second language acquisition research. Next is the research gaps. So, there are several gaps in my study. The first one is only few studies that explore students' willingness to communicate in Indonesian higher education. In this context, Indonesian universities. Second, most research is quantitative, which means there are a lack of qualitative research on students' life experience that makes students' personal perspectives still remain underexplored. Third, there's still very, very limited research that examines WTC among English education students, specifically at our university, Tadulako University. And the last one, the previous studies still rarely explore how Indonesian cultural factors really influence and shape student willingness to communicate in English. What does it mean? What with cultural factors? It means like collectivistic culture, traditional educational approach, and yeah. Okay, so this leads us to the research question. First one is, how does willingness to communicate or WTC of English education students at Tadulako University affect their English speaking performance? And the second, what factors influence their willingness to communicate in classroom speaking activities? To respond to the research question, the research objective of the study is to explore how willingness to communicate shapes students' speaking performance in various English speaking activities. And second, to identify and analyze factors influencing students' willingness to communicate in classroom speaking situations. Okay, and also there are several significance of the study. I divided into theoretically and practically. Theoretically, this study will expand WTC research to Indonesian DFL context and to also offers qualitative insights, which will be complementing previous quantitative findings. For practical significance, there are four. Is for educators, curriculum development, students, and future researchers. For educators, it will help design strategies to encourage students' willingness to communicate. For curriculum development, the study will provide input for communicative input programs. For student development, this study will raise awareness and their confidence to be able to raise their willingness to communicate and speak in English. And for future researchers, this study will serve as a reference for further willingness to communicate studies. Okay, next is the scope of the study. Participants will be English education students in Tadulako University. The context of formal academic settings, just classroom discussions, presentations, and group work. The focus is only a willingness to communicate in relation to English speaking performance, and factors will be limited to psychological, social, cultural, and contextual elements. Next is the research design. I will conduct a qualitative phenomenological approach that will explore life experiences from the participants and meanings behind their perspective about their willingness to communicate. Okay, and then I will conduct in-depth semi-structured interviews in approximately 45 to 60 minutes per participant that will significantly focus on understanding willingness to communicate phenomena from each participant's perspective. Okay, for the setting and participants, the study will be conducted at Tadulako University, specifically in English Education Study Program. I will limit the participants to only 6 to 8 students. I will use purposive sampling until data saturation, which means until there is no new themes. And for the selection criteria, I will choose from semester 3 6. Why? Because I think in semester 1 and 2, students still have a limited knowledge of or limited speaking classes, while in semester 7 and 8, students will probably already focusing on their seminar, on their research proposal. And that's why I think in semester 3 to 6 will be the most suitable for my study. And next, already completed at least one speaking course. And the next, they can demonstrate willingness to share their personal experiences. And they, each of the participants will need to represent diverse background, such as gender, academic performance, and confidence levels. And next, for my data collection procedures, I will divide it into 4, which is preparation, recruitment, interview, and documentation. Preparation will include interview guide development and informed consent for the participant that I already included in the appendices. The next will be the recruitment process, which includes the class visit with the lecturer's permission, of course, and information dissemination through WhatsApp group or through English Education Association. The next will be conducting the interview will be in approximately 45 to 60 minutes. And I will build a report before interview, while conducting interview, and after the interview is documentation. For the documentation, I will transcribe the interview, which means I will transcribe it word per word, including all the stutter and everything. And I will also take field notes for the documentation. For the data analysis, I will use Braun and Clark in 2006 thematic analysis, which will include 6 phases. The first one will be familiarization with data, and then generating initial codes, and then searching for themes, reviewing the themes, defining and naming the themes, and finally, I will produce the report. And then for the approach, mostly I will use inductive approach, but probably a little bit of the deductive approach will be included. And the last one is to make sure the data is valid. I will use credibility, transferability, dependability, and confirmability. For the credibility, I will use source triangulation, which I will be taking the data from the student and some of the speaking lecturers for triangulation, and also member checking with the participants. And then for transferability, I will make thick descriptions, which means the detailed information and also detailed documentation. For dependability, I will use audit trail and methodological consistency. And confirmability, I will use reflexivity journal to avoid bias. And I will analyze the data. I will use data grounded analysis and peer debriefing with my friends or colleagues. I think that concludes my presentation. I will open to suggestions and questions. Thank you so much for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Okay,
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
well, thank you, Mutia, for your insightful presentation. Next, we move to the question and answer session. Well, I will invite all the participants. If you have any question, please raise your hand. And did you have anything to ask or no question? It's very clear. Thank you. Okay, well, there is no question from the participant. We move to the next session.
No question, no signature in K, no
Yes,
K.
no cake, no signature in the report. Okay. Now we move to the next session. That is I would like to invite our key reviewer, Sir Mohtar Marum, to provide some feedback and pose any relevant questions. Sir, time is yours.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, and good morning everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning yang pakai baju kuning. Just kidding. And suka nasi kuning. Good morning, though. Well, what should I call you? Reza, Tia, Mutia,
Mutia, sir.
yeah. Well, Mutia Reza, student registered number A21222087. Just presented. Well said.
Thank
Well
you.
presented, eh?
Thank you so much.
Very fluent. I am very proud of your English.
Thank you so much.
So that's why I asked you where you took your English course.
Thank you so much.
That's why I film you, I record it. Okay, exploring how willingness to communicate shapes English speaking performance among English education students at Tadulako University. And it stands for WTC.
Yes, sir.
It is after the twin high-rise buildings hit by two aeroplanes with WTC, World Trade Center. But in this regard, it stands for willingness to communicate. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Very interesting. Is it your own idea or?
Yes, it's my idea, sir, because it's my own, from my own experiences. That's why I got the idea to study.
Yeah, very, very good. I really appreciate your idea. Okay, Tia. In this research project, you employ qualitative approach. I always remind students when they employ qualitative approach, they need to understand that qualitative approach is different from quantitative approach. We don't need to put forward dichotomy, but we need to give understanding on those two, the differences, understanding. In qualitative research, the data analysis is named ongoing data analysis. It means you start analyzing the data from the beginning of your research project up to the end of your research project. It's different from quantitative approach. Quantitative approach, you analyze the data after you collect the data, either in the form of tests, questionnaires, etc. But in qualitative approach, it is called ongoing data analysis. Take for example, when you collect documentary data, then analyze it. Observation, every time you observe your participants, your subjects, it's different from quantitative approach. Maybe after treatment, after several meetings, then you administer tests, distribute tests and questionnaires, then collect the data and analyze. So, okay then. When you mention per word to word, how many informants are you going to interview?
6 to 8.
Just two are enough. In qualitative approach, the data must be rich, in depth. You don't need to have more. It's different from quantitative approach. You must have many samples. We call samples, it's different. In quantitative we call subjects, participants, informants. When you interview, you call them informants. When you distribute the questionnaires, those who complete the questionnaires or fill in the questionnaires are called respondents. So be careful with the jargons. Okay, go on. Your theory on phenomenology is interesting, and again, I really appreciate your research study. Welcome, ma'am. Aji. Okay. Go on. Research setting. I look at the jargon of your research terminology. The jargons are very appropriate. We call research setting, not really research location. Yesterday I found research location. Location is no academic. In qualitative approach, we call research site. Research site, resource site, that's only in tourism. You don't say or call the name research location. Okay, this research will be conducted at Tadulako University in larger, wider. In Tadulako University at Prodi, smaller. That's the proposition. Well, I read Creswell as well, mixed method, very interesting. Both David Creswell and John Creswell. Professor John Creswell, the daddy of David Creswell, Crystal is linguist. They wrote mixed methods. Was a medical doctor actually, John Creswell, an expert in qualitative mixed method. And David Creswell, the son of John Creswell, both wrote mixed method. Very interesting. The book, you can download the books. Mixed method. Well, I would suggest, even though both of them PhD holders, I would argue the jargon should be named not sample strategy or something. The word sample refers to quantitative. Avoid using quantitative because it's different orientation. Quantitative approach has product-oriented, numbers, numerical data. Qualitative approach refers to process, looking at the process, not the result. When you multiply the data, for example, adding the data, the numerical data, and then the result, that's the product. That's quantitative, but in quality, just looking at the process. That's why it doesn't use sample. It use participants or subjects. Okay, next. The study will involve 6 to 8 English education students as informants, reduced to 2 or 3. 6 to 8, too many informants. It reminds me, a friend of mine, she used to be former vice rector of UIN Makassar, Professor, I forgot. She interviewed only three in polygamy. The husband has 2 wives. And then she interviewed 3, the polygamy case in gender study. And she received PhD, philosophy doctor. Only 3 informants. And Pak Yos, the late Mr. Yos, almarhum Mr. Yos, is main AP teacher at SMA Madani. She did research and she used supervised by only 1 or 2 informants. Student who lives nearby the beach and student live in the mountains or in the remote area, just to test the sound. Student who lives near the beach, by the beach, always sounds, noise. That's why, when he or she speaks very loud. Those who live in the remote area, very silent because the surrounding is very. So only 2 informants. So you don't need to have more than 2 in qualitative approach. Just 2 or 3. And then the transcript, you make a transcript, and then when you record and make a transcript, you must use verbatim, word by word. So just copy all the words without edit or changing, without editing or changing. Just copy. When he or she say, very genuine copy. Jadi di copy langsung, itu yang dibilang verbatim. Makanya dulu di script dibilang verbatim karena ketika dia copy biar titik koma sama. Nah, buat transkrip di kualitatif harus verbatim. Apa yang dia bilang pokoknya titik koma.
Kalau tarik napasnya kedengaran.
Karena tulis. And then you just wrote not the sample informants in kualitatif. Ada tidak sembarang ditunjuk jadi informan ya. Ada dua kriteria orang bisa diwawancara. Kalau mau data yang bagus dalam kualitatif, first, he or she must be trustworthy. Do you know trustworthy? Apa yang dia bilang tidak bohong. Ya? He or she will tell the truth. Nah, itu harus jujur, tidak balekos kalau orang lu bilang, tidak bakongan, bohong. Apa yang dia bilang betul. And then number 2 dalam ciri-ciri untuk menjadi informan harus knowledgeable. Knowledgeable, he or she knows much about the topic of your research studies. Tidak sembarang, oh dia saja, sesuka hati tidak. Nanti kau tidak dapat data yang rich data. Ya. Makanya dia tidak menggunakan purposive sampling, tapi menggunakan snowball technique. Tahu snowball technique? Ada berapa orang sini? Nih, siapa kira-kira saya wawancara? Oh dia, siapa lagi kira-kira? Itu snowball technique. Jadi kalau ada 3, siapa yang layak diwawancara?
Makanya dia bilang, itu pacarku boleh.
Tapi kalau tidak dapat data yang, ya itu yang data yang betul-betul strengthen data. Nah, jangan karena nepotisme, karena itu pacarnya kawinan. Ini grounded theory. Kau punya bagus sekali nih, karena mahasiswa kandidat doktor filosofi. Menurut saya fenomenological ini yang menarik karena selama ini penelitian cuma di experimental research, tak ulang-ulang di situ. Saya bilang tidak ada kemajuan, cuma tak ulang-ulang di true experimental research, single design, kuasai experimental, tidak berkembang. Anda tidak akan jadi guru semua. Kalau mau jadi guru masuk PPG. Kalau tidak PPG Anda kerja lain, banyak orang. Mahasiswa lain bisa jadi apa saja, kok kita cuma jadi guru semua? Lebih dari guru kalau bisa. Kalau tidak bisa jadi guru. Oke, next. Grounded theory. Ini yang orang sosiologi dan antropologi. Kita orang bahasa ya. The data derived from, the theory derived from ground, from ketika kau ke lapangan. Ya, misalnya saya penelitian sosiologi di masyarakat. Justru saya dapat teori, itu namanya grounded. Di lapangan, ground. Itu yang teori yang saya bawa. Beda dengan kuantitatif. Saya bermula dengan teori yang ada, kemudian turun. Kalau kualitatif grounded teori, justru kau dapat itu hipotesa teori di lapangan. Oh begini, oh ini yang tidak bermula dari teori yang besar. Grand teori kalau kuantitatif. Itu yang bilang grounded teori. Justru kau dapat teori hipotesa di lapangan, membedakan quantitative and qualitative approach. Okay, next. Ini your research schedule. Ya. Research schedule tolong. Ya. Kau bagus juga, simple sekali research schedule. But isi copy saya tidak keberatan dengan research schedule ini bagus. And you must rely on the research schedule. Semua, apalagi kandidat doktor pembimbingmu tentu sangat strict dengan research schedule. Semua peneliti, dosen mahasiswa berhasil karena time frame, dia ikuti timeline. Hari ini apa yang saya kerjakan, besok apa, next week, next 2 weeks. Dan kalau Anda, if you deny or ignore your research schedule, Anda wasting time. Ya, tapi kalau Anda pakai research schedule, ikut follow the timeline, follow up the timeline, insya Allah dalam waktu sesuai time frame Anda akan selesai. Ya, kalau berubah cuma sakit saja. Ini menarik kau punya ya, wawancara. Di wawancara in depth beda dengan open ended and semi structure. That's qualitative. Anda seperti wartawan. Saya kalau wawancara dalam qualitative saya cuma hafal temanya, baru Anda lihat saya videokan di YouTube. Saya wawancara Pak Jamil, Pak Darmawan dan beberapa orang. Kemudian saya cuma hafal suara di kepala saya tema, tapi kalau Anda masih pemula, memang kalau tidak bingung apalagi. Ya, tentatif. So, be careful. Anda pancing informant to be talkative, cerewet. Jangan dia, misalnya, do you like English? Do you like listening? Yes, sudah, that's it. Kalau bisa WH question, banyak pakai WH question. Istilahnya probing, inciting, and provoking. Pancing sampai dia bicara, itu jatuh. Jadi Anda seperti wartawan, jurnalis, seperti penyidik polisi. Penyidik polisi kalau ada pencuri atau pembunuh, kriminal, penjahat, dia kejar. Jadi peneliti kualitas begitu, sampai datanya rich ya, tidak tinggal dalam. Okay, good. Well, that's it. Thank you very much. Back to the chairperson.
Okay, well, thank you, sir, for your valuable. Next, I would like to invite our co-supervisor, Ma'am Sukma, to provide some feedback.
Ma'am
Ma'am,
Suk.
the time is yours. Thank you very much.
Ma'am Suk.
Bukan Ma'am Suk, bukan.
Jangan busuk. Jangan busuk.
Agak tadi Puspita. Mampus. Ma'am Puspita.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. First of all, I would like to appreciate Mutia for presenting the proposal in a very detailed way. And the second thing I would like to say is I would like to appreciate the enlightening comment from the key reviewer.
Ini kualitatif kalau bukan examine, investigate, explore.
Sampel, ya. Jadi,
Itu harus
we do
paham.
not need
Bukan
to
study
get,
itu lebih ke
like 6 to 8 samples, ya. Surely ternyata obviously is enough, right? So yeah,
itu ketinggalan zaman.
yeah, I would like to comment on the title.
Makanya
Probably
cintanya paling rendah itu.
is it okay to just delete the word of how? Yes, exploring willingness to communicate in shaping. So instead of using question word there, maybe we can delete it, right? But let's consult it there. And the next thing is the format. Yeah? The space between the subheading and the paragraph. Page 1. Background. The space between background, the word of background and the paragraph. I mean, you should see the gap, yeah, how much space, yeah, but the space. Yeah. And then the word of level on page 2, yeah. There is a word there, Athens levels. Padahal the thing that you need is Athens, only Athens, so it should be, the S should be deleted, right? It should be Athens level only, not Athens levels, right? And the page number, if the part is the chapter, so the page number should be at the bottom and center. And the next will be at the top right. Yeah? So it's just about the format, right? And I would like to ask you about the sentence on page 3. The last paragraph. What do you mean by the cultural dimensions of this phenomenon are particularly significant given Indonesia's collectivistic cultural orientation. What do you mean by that statement? Given, the word of given.
Yes, because Indonesia, in Indonesian context, they are still very, very influenced by
Yeah.
culture.
So there should be the word by there, right? Given by, right?
Okay.
Because this is writing, I mean, we do not meet the readers, right?
Yes.
It's different from speaking. Speaking we can clarify directly, but in writing we cannot meet with our readers, so it should be clear, right?
Okay.
It should be written.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go to the research questions. I would like to comment on the word of effect there. Research question number 1. Because in research question you use the word of effect, while on the research objective you use the word shape. Do you think the word of effect and shape is the same?
No.
No. What is the definition of effect? Effect and shape. In research objectives you use the word shape. In research question you use the word effect. Is it the same? Effect and shape? Because in Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary, effect and shape has different meanings. So I think you should be careful on this, right? So if you use the word shape right from the beginning, yeah, maybe you can be consistent of using shaping, right? Instead of effect, right? Because effect means to cause something to change, while shaping it to begin to exist. So there is no change but begin to exist. So it's two different words, right? Yeah. The next one, students' life experience on page 8. In the draft that you gave me, it's not complete yet. Still here.
Okay.
It's not complete yet, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this. Please be careful on the space between the subheading and the heading and the subheading, right? You should be careful on the space, right? Yeah.
Huh? Okay.
On the theoretical framework, don't you think that it's too big box there? Maybe you can make it smaller, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. On page 31, using in-depth interview should be allows atau allow, not allowed, right? Page 31, tidak satu. Yeah, you should past tense there. It should be present tense, right? And on page 35 you use the term scripsi. Maybe it can be changed to undergraduate thesis. Yeah. Okay. And the next thing is about your informed. Okay.
Akhirnya kamera kesalahan.
Ini kandidat dokter ini. Social science itu ilmu bahasa, sosiolinguistik, social science. Pendidikan juga social science.
Thank you. Pak Mohtar, PhD, and Ibu Sukma. Alright, now let me start with the research question. But before I ask about the research question, I'd like to know what is this proposal for? What is it for?
It's to explore and to find out the participants and English education students' perspective regarding their willingness to communicate when it comes to speaking.
Yeah. Mutia, please. Saya tidak suka kalau orang gugup. Ini jawaban gugup ini. Boleh baca doa dulu? You might have a drink if you like. Saya like it. Okay, by looking at the title of your proposal is, you want to explore how willingness to communicate shapes English speaking performance. What do you mean by that? Oh, forget that one. Okay, let's look at the question. How does the willingness to communicate of English education students at Tadulako University affect their English speaking performance? Before looking at the effect, yeah, I think it's better if you find out whether the students have the willingness or not. Why I said that? Because I'm teaching speaking right now, and it is a little bit struggle to ask or to fish their motivation to speak. Now, how as Mohtar PhD has already taught you just now that you need to find out informant based on certain criteria. Yeah. But the most important thing, you need to look at whether they have the willingness or not. The question is how to get that information. Yeah? So don't ask, hey, do you have willingness? Do you have willingness? Is that the right question? Probably not. Yeah? Okay.
Can I buy one for you?
All right. And then after that, then look at their result, their speaking result. Whether the willingness really affect their skill or their ability in speaking. Okay, you get the idea already? Yes, that's good. Okay, you may ask me, do I have willingness to speak? And I say yes. Okay, now you continue, go to find out the result of my speaking. Or you can speak to me and then you score my speaking if you like. And then after that you need to look at their English speaking performance. Probably you need to consult with lecturers because you conduct your research in Tadulako University. Oh my God. Yeah? You need to look at the result of speaking performance from the lecturers who conduct or teaching speaking this semester. Okay? Right. Now, what factors influence their willingness to communicate in classroom? Yeah? So which one is important? Is that the willingness or the speaking performance?
Actually, the willingness.
Huh? The willingness. Well, I'm not the expert. You are the expert. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so you need to find out what factors that affect their willingness. But again, find out the references related to that. Yeah? And then after that, even though you have or you found different things in during your research, then as Mohtar has already told you just now, that it means that you find a new theory. You can make it theory if you like, or let me make it theory. Okay, all right. And then you said that you are going to conduct a mix method design, yeah? Is that right? Or qualitative, only qualitative, right. If it is only qualitative, then you don't need to test their speaking performance, as I suggested just now. you just consult with the lecturers talking about the students' result in speaking. Okay? I have some information if you like to conduct research in my class. Okay. Yeah. It looks like you don't make a proposal but a script here, right? Because when it is a script proposal, it should be a little bit simple. Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to conduct scriptsy exam or just publication? Publication. Oh, that's my sugar. I love it. Okay. Some of the way of typing is not really academic writing, I think. Yeah. And you don't really use Mandalay. No math. Yes, I said you don't really. If you agree with negative statement, then say no. Yeah. I have problem with that. So how have you already think about the procedure in choosing the informant of your research? Because that's the most important thing. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. If yes, then yeah, we will discuss it later. Okay. All right, then, yeah, I think that's all I want to say. Thank you for being in this step.
Karena pacarnya kau yang saya wawancara.
Oh, ini pacarnya. Kau bisa wawancara.
Tidak memenuhi kriteria. Artinya bisa, tapi tidak datangnya Anda tidak strength, tidak verify.
Okay, thank you, Mandi.
Ini ada unsur sabotase ini. Memilih ruangan yang napane event organizer. Iyo. Marah berarti panitia kan?
Ya.
Napane event organizer, panitia. Kita dengan mem
Selanjutnya lagi.
sudah dibaca.
Dan kami yang bertanda tangan di bawah ini menerangkan dengan sebenarnya bahwa nama Mutia Reza Sambuk A1212208